Hello, hello y'all. This is going to be Monday, which is when the routes begin. And I feel like I've prefaced every video in this series so far by giving a sort of anecdote about the visual novel as a whole, but I don't think that's really important to this. I think the main thing I want to say is just opening this game and hearing the menu music and looking at the characters and everything, I feel nostalgic because I've had good times with this game, but I'm also really nervous because it genuinely got under my skin and unnerved me, and it's kind of bizarre. The only really way I could feel this way is if I'd played it before. But the bizarre thing is I feel exactly how Chase does when he goes to Echo, when he comes back to Echo. It's really bizarre that how I now feel what the main character of this visual novel, essentially your lens into this world, feels at the beginning of it. It's a weird thing. Anyway, we are going to start with Carl because I did the routes. Carl first, then TJ, then Leo, then Flynn, and then Jenna. Because Jenna's came out last, and yeah, I had to play hers last. Let's just get into it. Fuck, here we go. Yee Yaw River feeds Emma Lake from the north. It's a further drive than the lake itself, but it does have a few nice clearings along its edge. One of them is a few benches and a rusted-to-hell public grill that I'm sure no one has used in decades. This is the place that we go. As we're unloading Leo's van, I decided to get the B-roll shots of the lake right away. It won't have much of a presence in the packet, so I think I'm just going to narrate it over it later. The actual lake is only a few minutes walk from here. It's a bit difficult navigating around the sagebrush, and I know I'm going to have to check for ticks later. By the time I reach the lake, my friends are pretty far behind me, hidden behind a few bends and hills. I'm getting uncomfortable with the idea of me holding this camera while I navigate this terrain. It probably would have been better if Leo would just park the car next to the reservoir and I got out to film, but I guess even that still wasn't okay. There's a large square of paved ground next to the parking lot. Now, several benches and a row of brand new grills. Several lamps have been erected around the area, too. Leo is right about the town trying to turn the reservoir into a recreational spot. I can actually see a few jet boats skimming through the water, leaving long trails of white behind them. There's even what looks like a feline of some sort fishing in the shallows. It would explain why the motel is still in business. Lake Emma is fairly small, only 12 miles long and 5 wide. I look around before climbing to the top of a nearby hill and get my shots. Even with a few people there, it's still pretty quiet, aside from the train horns, and it's kind of eerie. I wrap up and start to quickly make my way back. It's hard to explain why I'm getting freaked out in broad daylight with people around. Either it's because of what happened all those years ago, or I'm just psyching myself out. I'm glad to hear my friends' voices again as I get closer. Then again, it sounds like they're fighting. Been acting like a dick all day. Be glad I came here at all. Apparently it would have been better if you hadn't. Maybe I should just fucking leave then. It sounds a lot more serious than our usual squabbles, so I quicken my pace. They seem to quiet down a bit once they see me coming. TJ's off to the side, looking out over the river, occasionally throwing a rock into it. Carl sits in a lawn chair, one of the 6 that have been set out in a semicircle. He has his chin on a fist as he lazily stares at me. Jen and Leo both stand next to each other, looking at Flynn, who's got his back turned, rummaging through the cooler. Hey, what's wrong? Leo sighs. Nothing. You got your film? Yeah, got it. The silence is still awkward, and I have no idea what the hell to do with myself. I finally realize that I'm still holding the camera and decide to put that away. Hey, I'm gonna go for a quick swim. Haven't been in water in a while. When we first got here, I was completely disappointed to find that the motel didn't have its own swimming pool. Being an otter, I like to swim at least once a day, if not more. At this point, I've been 3. Flynn finally turns around, a beer in his hands, and he cracks it open. It was true that he'd been acting a bit strange today. He held the entire trip up by a few hours, and when he'd finally showed up, his eyes were bleary, and he seemed sluggish, like he'd been up all night. When he asked if he was alright, he brushed us off. Yeah, thanks for the help setting up, Chase. You're about as useful as this fat ass here. He swings the paw holding the beer at Carl. Flynn. So enjoy that swim while I set everything out. Yeah, I will. Make my soda diet while you're at it. I've had it with Flynn. He's souring the trip with his need to be an asshole. Go fuck yourself. I ignore him as I strip off my shirt and head to the riverbank. I pat TJ on the shoulder as I pass him before slipping into the water. We're currently in the middle of a drought that has lasted the past 3 years, so the water is low, only about 10 feet at its deepest. It's enough, though, and God, it feels good. It's spring, so the water is pretty cold. I swim back and forth a few times before finally diving in. Oh, wow. I haven't seen this before, huh? Eventually, I settle on drifting to the bottom, laying and gripping onto the rocky floor as I stare up at the shimmery light above me. I feel the gentle current run over my body. It's nice to be away from all that tension above me. I feel isolated, alone, and for now, that feels good. Only I can really come down this deep. The others not being able to hold their breath as long, or being too little. I remember when we were younger, I would give the others rides around the lake, able to swim for nearly half a mile and back. Even Flynn the asshole had done it a few times. It was one skill I had that I was proud of, even if it was inherent to my species. It still made me somehow useful, or at least different from everyone else. In a good way. I had always felt like the odd one out in the group, as strange as it sounds. Where everyone else has a strong, distinct personality, I was just average. Sometimes I wonder if they were just friends with me because we all had to be when we were younger. This whole trip has kind of forced me to think back on all those memories I have of this place, and my friends. They were always doing the cool things, being different, while I just sort of blended into the background. Even then, I wanted to do something to stand out somehow. That's what I'm trying to do here, I guess. It's been about 7 minutes, and I only know that because that's about as long as I can hold my breath. I decided to go back up and help out, so I slowly let myself float up towards the surface, trying to stay in the same spot. When I surface, it's pretty quiet. For a second, I wonder if everyone is just gone. Of course, that's ridiculous. And as I come over the embankment, everyone's there. Predictably, Flynn did get my food out, so I go to the cooler to grab a sandwich and soda before sitting in an empty chair next to Leo. Apparently, it was a good idea to bring long chairs, considering the tables looked like they were covered in years' worth of bird shit. How was the swim? His tone is bitter and salty. He's not in his usual grumpy but good-natured mood. He's genuinely unhappy. The hell was his deal? Amazing, I'm gonna have to come back here again sometime during the week. You lizard people don't understand. You hardly ever need water. It always scares the hell out of me when you do it when you're down there that long. I'm built for it. Remember when you give us rides? That was fun. Remember when you'd always scream like a girl when Chase would go out too far? Oh, well, I remember that now. Hey, I've never really liked water. Anyway, Chase would do it on purpose. I didn't like it out there to a certain point. Carl looks at me. You know what was really cool is when you take us down for a dive. Oh yeah, Chase was like our little submarine. I'm starting to get that otters are swimming clowns vibe again. Still, I kind of enjoy the attention. We get you to take us to the bottom so we can look for treasure. Leo makes air quotes around the last word. We probably would have found way more stuff if the guys hadn't been dragging me down. I remember when... Are we really fucking talking about this? Everyone turns to look at Flynn. His voice is low and dangerous. There's a chill in the air because we all know what he means. I was actually feeling pretty good at this point. Like we crossed a bridge, being able to talk about it for once. Apparently we hadn't. Flynn. No, I'm serious. Do you think it's okay to fucking talk about this when the lake is just a quarter mile that way? No, Flynn, I think we should. Isn't that part of the reason why we're here? No, if that were the case, we'd be over there, but we're here. And why is that? Everyone's quiet for a moment. I see TJ shrink into his chair, staring hard at his lap. Flynn, we came here because Chase needed footage. Change comes over Flynn. His face darkens and everyone senses it. Flynn turns to me and it takes some effort not to flinch back. Yeah, and why is that, Chase? You gonna put that in your fucking documentary? No, Lake Emma is an important part of Echo's history. Just what? Flynn raises his brow ridge at me, and finally I just lower my eyes. This was a stupid fucking idea. You know what, Flynn? If you'd be a little more open, tell us what's in your mind, we'd be able to avoid a lot of this kind of stuff. Oh, you want to know what's on my mind? Flynn swools and marches up to Carl. Alright, let's start with you. You're fat, lazy, no motivation, no future. What the hell are you planning on doing with your life? Sit here, waste away in Echo, mooching off your parents until they're dead. Carl stares back up at Flynn impassively, though he hunches in on himself a bit further. Flynn, don't do this right now. And you, thinking you're better than anyone else, I can tell. You think everyone in Echo is trash. Just because me and the others haven't left, you think we're lower than you just because we don't have an education. We're a bunch of retards. Yeah, well, you're all fucking failing behind without even saying goodbye. You know what's even going on with them right now, what they're dealing with? Yeah, real fucking hero you are. You think Stop it, Flynn. Our unquestionable leader. We wouldn't have been friends without you, would we? That's why you brought us here, right? So we could all bond? Or wait, was it because you just wanted to get into Chase's pants? Leo's ears fall flat. Probably. You've been a mess ever since he left, so let me be the one to tell you. It's over. It's fucking unhealthy. You're obsessed with him. Slowly his head turns to me and I brace myself. And I can't imagine why. You, Chase, have the personality of a fucking rock. I wish you could see yourself. You just sit there like a creep watching everyone weighing everything that we say. And don't think I haven't caught the way you stare at all of us like we're all objects to be collected. What, are you just gonna plan a cycle through all of us for sex? Sure seems like it. Flynn stops and exhales. It seems like it's over. I really hope it is. That proves futile, though, as Flynn turns slowly on TJ. I had silently prayed that the Lynx would make a run for it while Flynn had all his attention focused on us. But TJ looks apathetic, like a statue, like there's no soul in him. Flynn pauses, though, as if he's at a loss for what to say. Finally, What happened, TJ? Flynn. Leo stands up, and from his posture I can tell the wolf is ready to fight. Memories are starting to flow back. TJ, Flynn think we've done something. Something too. I stand up too. Flynn may sound like a hard ass, but physically Leo had him beat easily. Flynn can obviously tell that he might have a fight in his hands, though, and it's clear he doesn't want that. He drops his shoulders, seeming to shrink, as if invisible strings have been holding him uppercut. He turns to us, then gestures at TJ. I just want the truth. We put a stop to this today, right now. I don't think you know how much of a nightmare this has been for me, not really knowing. TJ. TJ stares up at Flynn, muzzle set grimly. What happened to Sydney? It's dead quiet. TJ stares at his lap, not moving. Come on, let's... Flynn holds a hand towards me, still staring at TJ. Slowly, TJ looks up, his face still stoic, still made of stone. I already told you what happened. Bullshit! Flynn steps forward, but Leo's there to grab the back of Flynn's shirt and swing him around. I dodge out of the way as Flynn is flung back to land on his ass, picking up a big cloud of dust. Shit! Flynn, I swear to God, if you start a fight here, I'll drop your stupid ass. Everyone except TJ is standing now, staring at Flynn. Flynn sits there, glaring up at Leo, obviously weighing his chances. He seems to come up short, though, as he spits to the side and stands up, brushing off his pants as he turns away. You're all okay with not knowing. Fuck all of you. He turns back around, hands in his pockets, bitter look on his face. This whole thing was stupid, Leo. We're not even friends anymore. Flynn scuffs the ground before turning and walking towards the trail that goes back to Echo. God damn it, Flynn! Fuck off! Flynn keeps walking. It's pretty clear that he's coming back. I raise a paw and rub it over my eyes. What is he doing? He's a passionate guy that will sometimes just explode with all his insecurity before running away and hiding for a few days. He skewered us all like that before. That was a classic Flynn. But he was especially mean. Dark. And the part with TJ... I vaguely remember Flynn having some sort of suspicion, but that had been a long time ago. They've been sitting on that this whole time. I look to the left and see that TJ's gone. Carl's still sitting down, but it looks like he's pulling out a joint. Leo's walking off down another trail, cursing while Jenna follows him. I stand there, next to my chair, undecided. Okay, so this is where the route happens. I'm gonna save here so that I can, get back to this after the route I'm gonna choose is done. Alright, so click and go out, find TJ, go after Flynn, follow Jenna and Leo, or sit with Carl. Essentially, you go and find TJ, obviously that starts his route. You go after Flynn, that starts his route. This one's different, because you can follow them, you have to choose to stay with Jen or go after Leo, but obviously I'm going to be doing Carl's route, as I said. So we're going to sit with Carl. I'm tired and I feel awful. I just don't have it in me to chase everyone down right now. Flynn's back off to Echo, and it looks like Leo went after TJ, but I can't imagine the Lynx wants all of us crying around him right now. I sigh, rubbing my face before I sit down in the lawn chair next to Carl. He looks over at me, slowly lowering what's definitely a joint from his mouth. What? I don't mind. I make go on and gesture with my paw. Carl shakes his head, though, pushing the disheveled tube back into his front pocket. Nah, I always kind of feel like a dick when the other guy isn't into it. Want me to leave? Shakes his head with a quick flick of his horns. No, man, I just do it when there's nothing else to do. There's a moment of silence, and I feel a little pressure to break it, since I'm the one who interrupted this big session. I actually tried it a few years ago. Carl looks surprised. Oh, really? How was it? I shrugged. Pretty bad. It wasn't a muffin, I think. Carl makes a face at that. Edibles. Yeah, well, I ended up eating one. Didn't feel anything for a while. Next thing you know, I'm face down on the floor and everyone's freaking out. Shit, that sucks. It was kind of funny, but I don't think I'll ever try it again. Carl pulls the joint in the back out of his pocket and holds it up. That's why you should use one of these. It's easier on the brain. Yeah, well, I guess I just don't like the idea of putting smoke in my lungs. Carl puts the joint back in his pocket. I get that. Again, there's a few seconds of silence. I try to think of something to say, but Carl beats me to it. Crazy shit, huh? I assume he's talking about what just happened. Yeah, crazy. But you know how he is. He's regretting everything right now. Well, I guess I'd rather he just wouldn't say it in the first place. What he said to TJ. Man, he picks him in a lot, but that was crossing the line. Carl scratches by one of his horns and rubs his nose. Well, yeah, I guess I never understood that either. Making fun of TJ is like making fun of a cloud. But Flynn doesn't mean it usually. He likes TJ. I've noticed during the trip that Carl's been pretty defensive of Flynn, even though he's the butt of most of the lizard's jokes. I've seen Flynn trip Carl up and put him in several headlocks since I got here. You'd think getting older would change that, but I swear they roughhouse even more than they did before. So you and him still seem pretty close. You guys hang out a lot? Yeah, a bit. Mostly because there isn't much else to do. Got a friend in Peyton that he hangs out with sometimes too. So what do you guys do? I know Flynn isn't into video games at all, and Carl probably doesn't care to go clubbing every other night. He shrugs. Sometimes we go fishing, maybe just drive around Peyton. Mostly I'm just hanging out at home, though. Playing video games. Watching movies, cybering with a chatbot, the usual. I grin. That's sad. I would have cybered with you if I'd known you didn't have anyone. I don't know, man. That thing compiles all the fetishes the people to talk to. It's got my sexuality all kinds of fucked up. Oh yeah? Yeah, seems like no matter what I say to her, she's tied up in some warehouse, blindfolded with a few missing limbs. You underestimate my abilities. Oh, and a gender swap that comes out of nowhere halfway through. Well, while you're not sexing up a robot, you do anything else? He chuckles. I can't exactly get around myself anymore. So I guess your parents decided against getting you a new car. Yeah. Oh, look at this. He leans over and pulls out his phone. I can't help but notice that it's a top model brand, probably around $700. But he's not showing me the phone. Instead, he presses at the screen a few times and swipes through some pictures. I swear I see an image of Flynn with his pants down, mooning the camera. Carl swipes over pretty quick, though, and now I'm looking at the image of a brand new sedan, except the front is neatly folded up around the pole of a stop sign. I recognize the sign. I'd actually seen it right outside the convenience store, still bent at a ridiculous angle. Guess the town didn't care enough to get it fixed. The pole itself is almost embedded into the middle of the hood. Holy shit. Carl chuckles and pinches the screen, zooming in. Yeah, I dropped my phone. When I came back up, this frickin' pole was right in front of me. Really, Carl? Why were you on your phone? I don't know. When I get to the town, I don't really think I was going to be on the road. I sigh. I notice a big round spot on the right side of the windshield, spiderwebbed and smashed white. Whoa, is that... Yep. Carl knocks on his head for effect, the hollow sound that emits seeming rather appropriate. You rely on that too much. You really need to start wearing your seatbelt. He shrugs and puts the phone back in his pocket before leaning back in the chair and closing his eyes. What's the point? To not die. Happens to everyone sooner or later. Why not get out early if you can? He keeps his voice light into the heavy statement. I have no idea what to say to that, so I don't. But he predicts the silence again soon enough. So how's PU? You see Chelsea at all? Sometimes I would get Carl into Puebla with me. It was only one semester, but we had a lot of fun. It's alright, haven't seen Chelsea at all, though. It is a big school. Hey, what's that project thing you're doing? Just a newspaper with Echo, really. Kinda how it's falling apart. Huh. I've told him this already, but Carl never remembers much. Might center around the whole body and the mind thing that happened way back. Carl opens his eyes and looks at me. So do you need, like, history stuff, like old books and records and stuff? Yeah, if it relates. Carl sits up straighter and grins. Well, why didn't you say so? I got a ton of stuff in the crawl space from way back then. Yeah, what kind of stuff? Carl sets a hoof against one of the rocks circling the fire pit and starts rocking his chair back. Well, whatever my family kept over the years, that one guy, Carl snaps his finger a few times. You know, the guy found this place, James? Yeah, sure. He's like my great-great-great-grandfather or something. I think we still have some of that stuff from back in the day. Parents were thinking about setting up an Echo Museum thing, but they never did. This might actually be useful to me. All I had planned was to maybe look over some old newspapers or town records and be done with it. Actually, seeing some old stuff up close would be pretty cool. That might be a good idea, actually. Carl grins. Awesome. I always kind of wanted to look through that stuff, but the crawl space is damn creepy. Free tonight? For the first time, Carl actually looks really excited. Oh wait, never mind. Flynn's taking me to the dentist appointment early in the morning. How about 11 tomorrow? I smile. Sounds like a plan. Sweet. Whoa! Carl gives an excited kick off the rock as the chair's tipping back. The back legs practically snap under his weight. He sends slamming down in his rear. The chair a crumpled mess under his ass. I laugh, and of course I feel bad, but Carl just gets up with a sheepish smile, looking down at the broken pile. Well, Leo's gonna be pissed. I'm driving down the road alongside the lake. Carl's sitting next to me. He's in the chair that he broke. I keep telling him to wear his seatbelt, but he won't. I turn down a road I don't remember. It goes straight down towards the lake. For some reason, I can't stop. I brace myself for the impact, but I hardly feel anything. I just glide in the lake. I start trying to take off the seatbelt, but it's stuck. I look over at Carl and he smiles before opening the door. Otter rushes in and he starts to step out. Soon the water's over my head and it doesn't matter that I'm an otter. Wow, okay. Wasn't expecting that to be as short as it was. I guess it's good to have some short episodes in this series. So yeah, that was the beginning of Carl's route. Huh. This is a thing. Interesting. Oh, I hate that so much. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, that was interesting. Okay, anyway. Yeah, sorry. Got sidetracked. Anyway, see you next time or whatever. Fuck off. Come back to the cave. Fuck